But yes, we should move.
Yep, let's continue on our way. I'm going to move us back to the map.
John the Giant.
John the Giant, what?
He put himself on the map.
Yeah, he's going to fight fucking
Okay,
freezing.
I'm going to remove that. I think that was when I was asking everyone to roll initiative.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, but I moved everyone to another layer, so we won't have a giant John looming in the distance. All right, well, Vrend is going to travel with you guys. Now, I said you made it half a day. That would be 10 miles. So let's move you.
It's not easy, is it?
No, it's a very short distance on this very large map. Okay. So that would put you guys there, which is a whole lot of travel. And then, okay, so Vrend just starts traveling down the road again. Are you guys like veering off the road a bit?
Crocs would say, we don't have the capacity to magically become invisible and fly away. So we were thinking it'd be safer not to travel on the road.
Right, okay.
Unless you think otherwise.
No, I'm more than happy. I'm traveling with you. I said I would follow you, and we would just carry the orb while we're continuing this discussion. Yeah, now hold up. You, unless I'm wrong, you informed me that you are traveling to the next ice elemental?
That's correct.
So you know where it is.
Roughly, yes.
How?
I have a really, really good memory.
Right.
Do you have a map of some kind?
They reach into their bag of holding and pull out a very crude black ink only map that is penned in like one kind of handwriting.
Obviously, with Crux, like eidetic memory of the other map, can they point to where the next ice elemental is?
Yes, and in fact, the next ice elemental, as you see on their map, is in a wood that wasn't labeled on your map, but on their map is labeled the Lurkwood.
Crux will just tap say, it's in the Lurkwood.
Right. So we've got Neverwinter to the north, Long Saddle between us and there, and then the Lurkwood north of that. Sorry, Did you get your map out, or are you just pointing them in the
No,
direction?
Crux just pointing.
Okay. I expected this to be in Neverwinter, I will admit.
Why's that?
Well, it's the biggest fort. It's Neverwinter. It's a city. It's large. It's fortified. It's something they could defend easily. It's not just in the middle of a swamp where they have no defenses set up. This all seems very slapdash to you, doesn't it?
I don't really have anything to compare it against, but I do know that from my experiences in the swamp that some places are more potent magically than others. Some places resonate with certain elements more than others. So it is entirely possible that they chose these locations out of necessity, not out of preference.
Also, they weren't standing still. They were moving around, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, they weren't just standing there. They stood there for a while casting the spell, but they weren't there when we got here, so...
Oh, so you think they might have been channeling this ritual and moving it somewhere?
Probably. It looked like they had to manually cover the area in ice because... I don't know shit about magic, but the water elemental, I guess, was the thing producing the ice, not the spell. The spell was just freezing it, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I look to Book's Wings or tusks, any of them who know magic?
It could be a combination of all of these things. It did feel a little haphazard to have it in the swamp. That's very strange. I like where Kruak was thinking, but I don't have a map of any of the magical vessels or veins that run through the land. I don't know how to overlap that. But also, didn't you say that the dragon in charge overpromised and is desperate to get this done? Maybe it's just a convenience thing. They thought the swamp was empty. They weren't going to have any opposition.
Oh, or it could have looked very bad for him if the water elemental somehow broke out in the middle of a city like Neverwinter. He couldn't have hidden that.
That's also true. The swamp is somewhere that legends say nobody goes or nobody returns from, and yet all of you have gone there and returned, so that was
Well,
bullshit.
I was born there.
I'm sorry, what?
I've always lived in the swamp.
As Kruak said, they're of the swamp.
They did say that. I just assumed that to mean that they were a druid.
Well, when they say born, they elaborated that they just one day woke up there. So
That is a good point. I was trying to use yes. I just woke up in the swamp one day. In the real world, it's all I've known, so I don't know if that's I can gather from all of your expressions when I say things like this that it's unusual.
Yes, it's very unusual. The normal way is that two life forms will come together and somehow they will create a third life form that is a mixture of the two of them. Hence me being part drow and part dragon.
You did mention that, which makes sense because trees and plants behave in a similar way.
They do.
Croc's part plant, part animal.
That's not something I've heard of before.
But they turn into animals all the time.
but they have orc tusks.
Mm,
And elf ears. That was
And-
out of character.
And elf ears. That was in character.
And very wet hair.
I do live in a swamp.
Yes, but you're not in the swamp now, and it's just. It looks glossy. I don't know. You don't need an insight check to tell that Vrend is like jealous to a degree. His hair's like a little old and tired and like white, and there's a certain vibrancy to like very wet looking hair that his just doesn't have.
It is my nature. I am what I am.
Aren't we all?
I mean, I feel like you all have a better understanding of what you each are than I have of what I am, but
Right, well, so do you guys continue traveling? Like, are you traveling like up towards the woods that are above still? Is that still the plan?
well, Crocs plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay, so let's say you continue conversing with Vren as you go, but it gets to the point where you took half a day and then stopped for half an hour and then continued on. So by the time you reach the other end of the day, you are pretty much at the fork in the road where you could go north up what Vren will inform you is called the high road, or take the right path that is going to lead more towards where you're actually wanting to travel. But it's here where you hit like the part in your travel where it's like, right, we need to rest now.
Did you say we took like a short rest at some point?
I did not.
Well, like you
You
said that we would stop for a time?
I
Oh, yeah,
remember talking.
that was when you talked to Vrend.
Ah, okay.
So you can take, like, if you want to inform the party that you need a short rest, one could be taken, but
Nah.
after another 10 miles of travel, you get to, like, it starts getting nightfall, everyone's getting tired. You can force march from here,
Can
and
she not just short rest in my pockets while
I
we
was just
travel?
thinking that, yeah.
actually, yes. Sorry, Luna could actually do that. Luna could short rest in Al's pockets if she desired.
It just feels overpowered.
Mhm. I mean, you're
Well,
not a warlock, so.
I was going to say the same is
Or
done.
are you?
The same is done by other people in this world by just having like carriages. So like
True.
a carriage will be pulled that they rest in while someone else drives, and then they'll switch. So it's the same for if a like halfling wants to buy a war dog and ride that while they rest on top of it. It's entirely possible to do.
Then yes, I will rest in the pocket of my war dog.
But
I walked into that one myself, so
Yes, you specifically can take a short rest.
Al's a
Anyway.
real diamond dog.
Fuck's sake. What do you guys do when it comes to the end of the day? Do you want to continue onward, or do you want to rest?
I mean, I think we need to find a place to rest suitably, unless we have a way of covering 80 miles in an hour.
No.
Negative.
I mean, 80 miles would be more than one more day, right?
It would, yeah.
It'd be like
Sure.
3 days.
It'd be like another 3 days, yeah.
So, yeah, I think we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to find somewhere like a recessed alcove or a patch of tall grass, something to act as some kind of camouflage.
Yeah, like, so we are still close to relatively hilly terrain.
Yeah, but within 10 miles close.
Yeah, but like this is on a map saying these are mountains.
Hmm.
So there might be like a a very small amount of like rising and falling with the terrain.
Yeah,
Or some
If
trees.
like the plains are broken up. So could we look out for like a natural place, like a place that is naturally formed that would provide a good resting point?
Yes, make me a survival check.
Could I assist?
You absolutely can.
22.
Excellent. You can absolutely find somewhere on this map, and your ability to navigate the land is almost like it seems to be part of your connection with nature. Something guides you to places like this very naturally.
Croc will just kind of at one point just like point and just lead to the party.
Yeah, so you find like just a section of very thick shrubbery, like a lot of shrubs that you could like either hack your way into, which I don't think you'd be terribly happy about, or like push your way into. And like it's not going to be super comfortable in there, but if you wrap yourselves in a sleeping bag and bed down, it's a barrier from the wind and it's obscuring you. That still doesn't give you enough heat, however. Like you would really want a fire going. If you rest without a fire, there's going to be a constitution save involved for getting through the night without being so cold that you earn that point of exhaustion, which you would otherwise be staving off.
Question:
Hmm.
Does putting on the hide armor negate the saving throw?
If you wear the hide armor and bundle yourselves in blankets, you could have advantage on it, but you would need like actually a source of warmth, like a fire, to bypass it entirely.
Can Luna and I take turns prestidigitating a community blanket or like because it's like a cubic foot. So we've got
only an
6
hour,
casts
though.
between the two of us. So
If you woke up every single hour to recast it, yes, but then only you and Luna would be making the Constitution saving throw because you'd be having to wake up every hour in a night's sleep to recast a spell over and over, which would be exhausting because you'd having to be waking up every hour on the hour.
What if we trade it? So like 1 hour he wakes up, the next hour I wake up. So we got 2 hours in between.
2 hours at a time, you could possibly swing that.
Hang on, I am just trying to see.
We'll have to huddle really close together, though.
Can't Vrend probably help? He like heat up the thing too, so it would be 3 hours in between.
I mean, I can do it with Druidcraft as well.
Vrend has access to prestidigitation and could warm some stuff, but again, it only lasts an hour.
But like between all 4 of them, it's much less taxing on
That
their
is
sleep.
like 4 hours sleep at a time.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty doable.
So,
in fact, you could probably do that and like split it up to what a normal party would do, waking up to do watches.
Yeah. So John takes first watch, and then we'll cast Prestidigitate for a couple hours to keep everybody warm.
Well, to start with, because everyone's awake at first, Vren is going to cast his prestidigitation as well.
I have a question,
Mhm.
Blaze. Would light wind in a like a campfire sort of thing, like just above the smoke, just hitting it, like help disperse it more to make it like more difficult to be seen? So instead of it just coming up as like this big plume, if it was just being dispersed, like above the source of the heat sort of thing.
What direction would you send that wind in?
It would just be like a general like puff to disperse it, like so that the smoke kind of went in all directions.
Possibly. The only way to know for sure would be to try it.
Well, I'll tell you what. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Druidcraft to detect what the weather's going to be like. If we're going to get any snow or rain or cloud cover or fog.
Weather report, Dan.
Weather report. It's cold.
Roll me a D100.
I was about to say I don't need to roll for this, but no, I see what you mean. I need to tell you what the weather is. 68. So close to 69. So close.
Yeah. You've got a nice like shrub here, but in a couple of hours it's gonna rain. So what's happened is it was really bitterly cold, and you guys changed the weather so it got a lot warmer. The clouds obviously swelled, and they're going to break at some point, which means you guys are probably going to be in like a pretty big downpour.
As a person who lives in a cold climate, though, if it's raining, that means it's not freezing.
Yes, with the cloud swelling, that is adding to the warmth of the area.
Right.
But then it's going to rain, and it's going to wet you guys, and you're going to be outside in that because you don't have a roof.
Also, can I construct a rudimentary shelter with, like a just like an outdoor lean-to, just to fend off.
Yeah, use the brushes or use the bushes to make some kind of a thatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make me a survival check with advantage.
15.
Okay, 15.
In fact, and 19.
Nice. Okay, so as you start like trying to do that, Vren asks you what you're doing and aids you by using their telekinesis to move otherwise much larger objects than you could move to like and bend things in a way that you couldn't do with hands to get it together. So you get a nice weave where you can have shelter from the rain set up.
And if we
It's fairly typical adventuring party style. Like, there's only just enough room for everyone when you finish it because you're doing this in a rush. You want it to be
Yeah.
done before the rain comes in, so you guys have to huddle together a lot.
For sure. And if we start the fire so it's underneath the awning of this, will the smoke kind of rise up and then kind of just dissipate off that? Like, can we catch the worst of the smoke and kind of...
You can, yeah, you can try that.
Because if I'm awake for the whole night and if I'm just keeping here, like, I can just cut the fire if I hear anything.
Yes, indeed.
Or we can try it without the fire. It's up to you guys.
I feel like we found a way to make it work magically without the fire, so it would be an unnecessary risk.
Let's try it without the fire then,
It sounds like we just need a roof.
which we have.
Yeah, Krog has constructed a thatch out of the bushes so that
I don't know
like,
what a thatch is.
that's where you weave plants together so there's no gaps. So the rain will drop on the top of the thatch and run either side of it, but not come down and wet you guys.
Ah, okay.
It's an awful roof that if you live in the UK, you're not allowed to remove unless you have a fire.
That is also true.
Yes.
Well,
Krug's gonna kind of shuffle everybody in and be like, "Get some sleep. I'll keep watch."
Vren is gonna snap their fingers, and much the same as the way Owl did it, like a little owl appears on their shoulder and kind of ruffles all its feathers, and he sends it like up. It's like, just checking around to see if there's any dragons in the sky now. Not seeing anything. Nope. And he snaps his fingers, and you just see the owl, like, it was disappearing up into the sky, and it just goes, poof, just gone.
Vren, do you know of any frequently used caravan routes?
Well, the roads, absolutely. I was expecting to meet one or two on the way here.
I think that getting ourselves some horses would be greatly beneficial.
Well, as far as I know, it's 1 horse per caravan, and how do I put this? My spells are a little explodey, so fighting off the caravanners and keeping the horse alive isn't something I'm good at.
Do you know how well guarded they are?
Yes, there's 5 to 15 militiamen, usually a couple of stronger things, either trolls, ogres, sentinels, sometimes a guard drake, and then a couple of scouts.
Never
I
mind.
was thinking a hit and run approach, and that spell that you had, along with you, Luna, that made us disappear. You and Hal disappear. Could be useful.
You can only make 2 people disappear.
I could probably make a couple of people disappear as well.
It's just a thought.
Can you make the cart disappear or the horse disappear after we steal it?
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe the horse.
I could shrink the cart.
Really?
Also, good call on the owl.
What, you can really shrink the entire cart?
I'm not sure.
Because then it's just easy. We go in and visibly shrink it, take the horse and run away.
Do you know if there's any lightly armed patrols or anything on the roads?
Darling, if I knew any lightly armored patrols, I would be taking them myself.
That's fair. I guess we just hit the road again tomorrow. I'm going to get some rest and make sure the body is also I guess, getting rest.
If anything happens, kick me awake immediately. Tell me what's happening as quickly as you can. I will cast darkness on all of us. We won't be able to see, but they won't be able to see us.
Oh, okay. I'll be awake the entire time, so don't worry. I'll keep an eye out.
Do you not sleep?
No, I had to have that explained to me as well.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm going to have a lot more questions for you once we've killed this next elemental. A lot more questions.
I'd be happy to answer them as much as I can. You are a good chance of me understanding more about myself.
Righto. Righto. And Vrend's gonna resummon his owl and just put the owl somewhere, and the owl's just gonna sit there doing slow turns of its head.
Owl things?
Yep. Just looking around, and Vrend's gonna go to sleep, leaving the owl there.
Just stealth things.
Just owl things.
As everybody kind of beds down to sleep, I'm going to ritually cast Speak with Animals.
Okay.
And I will just look up at the owl and just kind of hoot up at it, I guess. And Crack is just going to say, Friend seems very nice. Have you been with him long?
Yes, the fuck I have. Who are you, and how are you talking to me?
My name's Crack. I've been traveling with a friend, and I can speak with animals.
Right. Okay.
We'll be keeping a watch out together, I guess. So I just thought I would introduce myself.
Yeah, you mentioned that telepathically to me. This is very strange. You're the first person other than Vrend that has talked to me on this plane.
Oh, are you from a different plane?
You guys just hear hooting back and forth, and yeah, that's the way familiars like us work. We're not actually from here. We just are taken from our original plane, kind of formed into a body which allows us to inhabit this plane and experience your reality. This is very strange. I'm not used to talking to other people. I'm not really sure I should be telling you anything here.
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. I just wanted to say hi and yeah.
Yeah, John. I don't know that comprehend language covers this because I think it would be comprehend animals.
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. But John is racking his brain listening to this, going, Let's try to figure this out. And he just quietly casts comprehend languages to himself, gleaning no more information than he started with.
Yeah, you see, usually it's a very one-sided conversation. So Vrend can say things to me, but I've never been able to say things back to him.
Well, if there's anything that you'd like me to pass on, we've got about 9 minutes and 10 seconds. If you think of anything in that time that you want me to tell Vrend from you.
He doesn't have to feed me. All right, that's not the way my corporeal form works. He keeps feeding me crackers and stuff, and it's very nice, and I do appreciate it, but he really doesn't need to.
I don't need to eat either.
No. You're familiar as well?
I don't
Is that
know.
why we can talk?
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm like a familiar of the swamp.
Of the swamp?
Yeah, I'm from the swamp. I was created there. I just woke up one day in this corporeal form with a lot of knowledge available to me, like how to cast magic and how to speak multiple languages.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's never heard of any of that, sorry.
That's completely fine. I just like I say, I just wanted to say hi since we'd be keeping watch together
And John in particular, who I think is racking his brains watching this exchange, watches the owl lift a wing and very obviously wave at Kroark, which is not normal owl behavior at all.
Krug just waves back.
Yep.
Can I
Or-
use prestidigitation to make extra little hooting sounds between them, but it's probably gibberish?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, you can mimic some of the sounds they're saying, so it
Yeah.
almost sounds like there's echoes in the conversation. Like you guys will say something to each other, and then a third voice will, like, in that way that a deaf person might repeat language, and it sounds just a little off. Like the words are there, but it's not formed exactly the same way. You hear like pieces of your conversation echoing.
Yeah, like the clown voice.
Where is Luna? Is she like in Al's pocket or?
Yeah.
She's
Okay,
riding
well,
her around.
I guess I throw like a stick at Al.
What the fuck? They're the ones hooting. Like, why am I the one being blamed for their noise?
It's
I
at
don't
this
know.
point
Pocket,
that
your responsibility.
it is only at this point that Krug realizes that everybody else can hear the hooting. Because Krug just
Vren like opens one eye and just kind of like shakes his head and then closes it again.
Krug's like, sorry, folks, I'll be quiet. You can get back to sleep and stuff.
Thank you, Swamp Man. I'm just gonna go back to sleep.
I continue the hooting.
If John's awake, anyways, he's gonna start reading the Lehman's Tiny Hut scroll
Mhm.
and start practicing with that. And so, in order to copy a spell into your spellbook, it has to be of a level that you can cast.
Yeah.
Such limitation is not in the copying from a spell scroll section.
Yeah, I think you could probably copy it and just not be able to use it.
That's my thought as well. It also
Okay.
doesn't say anything about the
So
time
this
it
would,
takes or the cost.
this would be under ritual casting, I believe, for wizard. If I
Oh
understand
no,
correctly.
this is in the player's handbook. The wizard has your spell book and all the rules that pertain to the spell book in like a big grayed out section.
Mm-hmm.
And then it
Copying
would
a
be
spell
under
from
the
a scroll.
Yep.
A spell that can be copied. When you copy a spell from a scroll, you must succeed on an intelligence arcana check with a DC equal to 10 plus the spell's level. If the check succeeds, the spell is copied successfully. Yes. And this is what Vren was saying about difficulty. So if you muck this up, you destroy the scroll and don't get the spell. But yes, you can copy it into your spell book now.
You just won't be able to cast it until I hit whatever appropriate level is for third.
But it will be locked into your spell book.
Which
Wait,
is
that
fine.
destroys the scroll?
It uses up the scroll.
Yeah.
Even
But he has
though
the
he's
spell
just
for-
copying it?
Yeah.
So the way that my mind pictures it is I'm like affixing the language of the scroll by like physically attaching it into the spell book. So it's no longer a scroll, it's now part of my book.
It's a
Yep.
page.
Which is why it doesn't cost the ink and the materials. Because you're utilizing the arcane nature of the scroll to transform it into the book somehow through the
It's
rest of the
paperclip.
arcane ritual.
Yeah. He has given you, however, 150 gold's worth of ink and materials,
Ooh.
which was the vellum and ink and quill. So you don't have 150 gold, you have 150 gold's worth of, and they call it paper, but it's actually vellum because it's more durable than paper. So if your spellbook gets wet, it doesn't, like, all the ink doesn't just run out of it. It is like it basically, you're taking a very kind of leather, a very thin, soft leather, and tattooing your spells onto it, and that's what a spell book is, as far as I understand it, to make it as durable as possible.
The standard spellbook certainly, but you can also have like acid etched metal or
Yep.
like, rune carved stones or whatever, depending on your flavor of wizard.
Yes, there are other ways of doing it, but the standard wizard, from what I understand, is vellum and basically tattooing ink on, which is why it's difficult, because you need to get this like exact, and you're not just like scribbling in a way where you could just tear out a page and try again. Like, you need to get it right first time. So would you like to make that arcana check?
I would like to summon my owl familiar and
Mhm.
have it take the help action to help me make this arcana check.
So everyone
Smart.
was annoyed by hooting, and then there's another owl.
That isn't hooting necessarily.
Okay, well, you have an owl perched on one of your shoulders that's helping you, and then it doesn't take long before another owl perches on your other shoulder, watching what you're doing.
If I
So
reach
you-
up to scritch it under the beak, does it seem to react?
Yeah, it just leans into it. It's very curious as to what you're doing. And it's obviously supposed to be, like, watching for dragons or whatnot, but it is immediately distracted as soon as you start doing magic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Rock will be watching for dragons.
Good job, Croc. But I believe it would be a DC 13 Arcana check for you.
That's a natural 20.
Gosh.
That's your second natural 20 Arcana roll.
It
I
is.
think
It
in
is.
2
Well
rolls.
done.
Oh no,
So-
I've had a perception.
You are exactingly careful and precise copying this scroll in. It translates perfectly into your book, and some of it still eludes you in terms of, like, the language of it, and maybe even because it eludes you, there is no shorthand in your mind. You are copying down, like, exactly the shape of the runes and the words.
Yeah, I want to. I whisper to the familiars. I'm gonna go back in later and renotarize this, so it kind of fits the theme of the rest of the book. I'm thinking, maybe some kind of elven sausage. And he just starts stroking his beard.
Right, because your spellbook is a cookbook, is the way you've themed it. Mhm.
Yes.
Wait,
I'd
is that what
forgotten that.
elven sausage is?
Oh,
Lehman's tiny sausage.
Oh, poor Lehman.
Okay. That just sounds like an insult to Lehman, but yes, Lehman's hot elven sausage.
Oh no.
Ah, it's hit me. Thanks, God.
while that's going on, I'm gonna take out a ration and give Luna a ration and just start eating.
Okay, yeah. Everyone for a night's rest needs to mark off a ration from their sheet.
Bless your Croc.
Miss
Uh,
ration.
I'm gonna put 5 rations in Al's pack.
I have to do math. Why?
Sorry.
I also have a mess kit.
Yeah, in terms of rations, if Croc wants to spend the spell to provide you all food, that's also possible, but otherwise it's a ration each.
You're like the credit card. I'm like the savings account.
Oh, so
Food.
So is Croc providing food for everyone?
I mean, I can't tonight. I don't have the spell prepared.
Okay, then
is Luna keeping and attuning to the Ring of Spell Storing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing it anyway. I'm not intending to, but
She will accidentally.
I think
Oh,
attuning
God.
is something that you do over an hour. You need to, like, really focus on the item.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably willful.
I
nah,
imagine
I'm just
it is.
wearing it. It's a bracelet.
Okay. Yeah, it does require attunement. So this ring is weird. It's actually a double band. Like, it pins 2 fingers together. But
Hmm.
if you, like, wear it and attune to it, it does allow you to store spells into it. And I
My
believe that-
knowledge of spells and stuff, like, and items like this, is that gonna make him angry if I attune to it?
No. And the thing, it probably won't even make him angry if you cast the spells, because they're spells he knows, so he would be able to put them back in if need be.
Okay, then I'll probably
don't know if
attune
it-
to it.
It is silly. But, like, we could put 4 good berries.
We could what?
The fucking ring of spell shitting or whatever, we could put 4 good berries in it. I'm just saying.
Well,
Has-
not right now, you couldn't.
Not
'cause
right now.
I believe Karak is tapped.
It's probably a silly idea, but we
I
could.
have tons of spell slots. I just don't have the spell prepared.
Totes silly.
Anyway, so do you guys try to bed down for a rest?
Yes.
Are we
Ooh.
doing the thing?
What thing?
The warming the blanket thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, being that that's the case, because John said they would go first. So in how many hours does someone else, is someone else supposed to be woken up to do
1
the next
hour.
cast? 1 hour?
Yeah, because it only lasts an hour.
It's 1 hour on rotation of like 4 people. So
Yeah. So it'd be like
But like,
No,
You
I'll
can-
cast it for like the first 3 hours.
Right. So
Yep.
I think the discussion was that a
Oh, okay.
mage would run for like 3 hours, so that after that they could just sleep through, and they'd recast it for an hour each time. So John was saying they're first for the first 3 hours.
We have 4 people that can do it, so we only have to do it one person, like for 2-hour stretches.
wait, can't you
Okay.
just do it? Croc?
just do
You
it.
can just.
Smooth
Yeah, I
it.
mean, you don't sleep.
Well, Croc
Um,
doesn't have prestidigitation.
I don't have prestidigitation, but I do have Druidcraft.
Does
don't you-
Druidcraft make the worm happen?
Doesn't
I
that
think
still
so,
interrupt
yeah.
your sleep?
Let me look up Druidcraft.
Thought the only-
Druidcraft
Oh.
is the thaumaturgy of
Also,
prestidigitation.
Blaze ruled it that cantrips don't count for rests, so you could cast cantrips for free.
And they only need to rest for like 4 hours. Anyway, right?
I can provide a harmlensory effect.
Yeah,
Warmth is a harmless sensory effect, so you feel warm but aren't actually warmer.
yeah.
Oh, cool, I could give you a hypothermia.
I don't think Druidcraft does that, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough.
Druidcraft does other things, but you can make a seed bloom or create like the smell of an animal in a certain direction, or snuff out candles or campfires immediately, but you
Mhm.
can't warm people's clothes like prestidigitation can.
And also, in my mind's eye, I believe that like the whole party's sharing a blanket, so the prestidigitation can be spread out across that blanket to hit everybody.
I don't know that you guys have one big blanket, but I think everyone's bundled together and has overlapping blankets.
That's fair.
And you can heat up to 3 objects in like the same hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is only 1 cubic foot, though.
Yeah.
But that's basically 3 cubic feet.
No, it's within 1 cubic foot, 3 objects.
Oh.
Oh, it could be 3 separate 1 cubic foot, I thought. So,
Yeah.
as long as it's within range.
I'd assume so. So it could be
Yep,
3
that's
cubic
true.
feet.
Yeah, it could be 3 cubic feet of warm. Right, so first 3 hours is John. Krark, for that time, make me a perception check. John, if you would also like to make a perception check, assuming you're staying up for those first 3 hours.
Yep.
Okay, so a 10.
Could I have my owl help with my perception?
I believe for the first span of time, you're putting a spell into your spell book and using your owl for that.
Yeah.
So let's just
I
have
wouldn't be making perception if I was still copying the scroll.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and make me a perception with advantage then. I'm
Okay.
assuming that becomes a 12, Krark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before.
24. All right, that's pretty good. So there is movement around, but nothing that's like coming your way. But when it becomes nightfall in these open plains, there are definitely some things that like travel along the road trying to get somewhere while it's dark. You can't exactly see what, but you hear hoof falls, and like you can tell that something travels past you guys.
I was wondering if we should do that, because it might be a lot harder to spot like fires and stuff during the day. I don't know.
You travel at night, camp during the day.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's easier to see smoke from a distance during the light.
Yeah, it's way easier to see smoke.
True. Very true. Before John goes to sleep, Krark will ask if John doesn't mind leaving his owl with Krark, so the two of them can like keep watch together.
Yeah. Sure. If-
Ostensibly, I'm looking for a way to get advantage myself on my perception rolls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
I mean, you have a couple of owls willing to do that.
Yes, the advantage owls.
Yes.
I have owl vantage.
Tish.
Somebody like that.
I'm hilarious.
So you seem to think. All right, so that first span goes by, like nothing discovers the party, no problems. Then we're on to who is being woken up next to do the spell casting.
Oh, as John goes to sleep, he's going to cast Mage Armor on himself
Mhm.
and spend a sorcery point to do extended spell to make it last 16 hours.
Okay, so you'll
So
have
it'll-
Mage Armor through tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah,
Well, 16 hours, so not a full
not
24.
all of it.
But yeah, 16's a good amount.
Yeah.
Right, so are you waking anyone up, or are you just casting warmth and going to sleep?
Nobody volunteered for second watch, so I'll just kick Al.
What?
Oh no, he's not a spellcaster.
No,
No, he's not.
I'll kick Al because I assume Luna's sleeping with him, like in his pocket or something. Hey, Al, where's Luna?
What? I don't fucking know. I'll check my pockets.
I'm sleeping
Wings.
pocket.
Wings.
What?
That books once stuck to you.
Eh.
It's been quiet. We did hear hoofbeats on the road, but nothing that came to investigate. Nothing that was too close. I'm gonna go to sleep now. I assume you were second watch with Krog?
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, bye.
Drag myself out of the pocket.
Why the fuck did I have to wake up?
I'm not gonna like go through your pockets searching for Luna when you know where Luna is.
Yeah, do you really want John just like rubbing his hands all over you while you're asleep?
Okay, enough of. Sure.
Okay. John snuggles up to the owl. I'm just kidding.
Oh, actually, like gets up. He's awake, so he'll stay awake for at least part of the watch.
I heat up the blanket and whatever, and then go sit on Croc's head.
Okay.
Is it
Krog,
okay?
you have an owl on each shoulder and a Luna on your head.
Yeah,
Typical Druid things.
I'm good with it.
How bad of an idea would it be if it just went to, take a look around? Not gonna go very far.
Al, if you have to pee, just say you have to pee.
If I had to pee, I'd just pee right here. I
What?
don't give a fuck.
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, but it'll make me feel a little better.
Okay, so go.
Okay, be right back. And I'll just do a very quick scan of, like, I don't know, 30-foot radius around us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll walk, patrol area a little bit.
Okay. Make me a perception check.
Presumably with disadvantage, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
No,
I don't know.
absolutely with disadvantage.
Fuck, I can't find perception. Again, here we go.
Ah!
2.
You know, it looks completely clear to you because you can't see your hand in front of your face because it's so dark.
Well, that's comforting.
You're staring out into just like pitch blackness. You can't even see the moon. It is just dark.
Wait, am I not supposed to be able to see the moon? Like that's okay. Well, I'll eventually go back and go. We seem to have lost the moon.
Croc is
Good.
just gonna have a glance around and see if they can see the moon.
You cannot see the moon.
Yeah.
Last
I was
time
like-
we saw the moon, it was evil.
That's very true.
Croc's gonna say it's a very cloudy night and it is due to rain, so
Oh yeah, at that moment, like it begins raining. Like as you say, it's due to rain. The raindrops start falling.
see,
my
I'm
God.
very good at this weather thing.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
I fucking hate the wild.
Croc can tell the future.
They can see the future.
When it comes to weather, they absolutely can.
Yep, they can.
Can I, like, lay on my stomach and lean over the side of Croc so I can whisper in their ear
Yeah, you can do that.
and say, "Will I become a full dragon?"
How would Kruak put that out into the world? I don't have a magic 8-ball.
Me, my fortune teller.
Can this is an insane one, Blaze. So, can Kruak insight check the universe to see the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah, you know what? Make me an insight check on the universe with disadvantage.
Dope. 13.
Stranger things have happened, and earlier today, you remember a conversation where Vrend was talking about their spellcasting, and then Luna said, "All like me," and then you remember Vrend talking about how he was learning how to turn himself into a dragon. Ergo, Luna could at some point turn herself into a dragon.
Krog will essentially say that. Krog say, well, if you and Vren are the same kind of spellcaster, and he thinks that he can do it, I'm pretty sure if we just let him do it first, you can basically do the same thing with like much less work.
Oh my god, really?
I think so, yes.
And then I fall off his head.
I'm sorry. What the fuck is there, Mario?
I assume that was Niles.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll delete it then.
No, my face.
I just panned the screen over during this conversation. Fucking Mario's there.
I had my character sheet open over it, so when I closed my character sheet to look, I just saw Mario.
You know what? I'll put it back.
Oh, the eyes are messed up.
You know, I forgot I had a Photoshop tab open with Kay's face in it, but you know, so.
Good
Niles,
times.
I'm kind of worried about your obsession with me, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been a long time since I photoshopped you.
Anyway, if you could make me another perception check, anyone that's awake, those with owls can have advantage.
Excellent.
Woo!
24.
Big upgrade. Big upgrade.
Again, Kay, Al can't see anything. It's way too dark.
Yeah, no, Al genuinely hates the wild. He spent his entire life in a city, and this is miserable.
Yeah. It would suck if Kroak could see some goblins sneaking up on your camp right now. About 12 of them.
Can I?
Yes.
Okay. Croc is just going to nudge Vren with their foot.
Yes.
Goblins.
What?
Oh, where?
Are they all coming from one direction, or are they spread out around the camp?
They're not spread out around the camp. They are not particularly intelligent. They are all coming from one direction.
Croc will just say the direction.
Do I hear Croc saying that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you're on the head.
John, wake up!
No. Is there anything else around? And he asks his owl, any dragons? Any? No. Okay. Do you guys want to try and do this stealthily, or?
What do you think is better? Do you think the goblins might have something that we can take?
I think I'm too tired for this shit and want to incinerate them so I can sleep.
That's fair.
I like incinerate, but you know, you never know what the goblins might be working for.
It is raining, so there's a good chance that the the fire isn't going to catch or anything, we can probably just...
All right. Quick vote. Hands up for incineration. And Vrend puts his hand up.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll put my hand up. I want to see it.
Crag's going to put their hand up?
3 out of 6. Do we have a deciding vote? Anyone else?
I mean, it's dark out, and if we were to light them up, it would draw attention to us that we don't need.
Yes, that's true.
Or what would be bringing less attention? A long drawn out engagement or a momentary burst of arcane light?
They are sneaking closer as you're having this conversation. The time to make this decision is very quickly dwindling.
Vote flame.
Pardon?
I said I vote flame.
Okay, that's more than half the party. So Vrend goes, good enough. He turns. He points in a particular direction, and you see the tiniest little red beam go from his finger to between where the goblins are sneaking up, and they're communicating to each other. They notice the little red dot, like a cat would notice a laser pen, and then you guys just see a giant yellow eruption, just a and then just scattered bodies of now smoldering goblins, which, to be fair, are being rained on and put out. And Vrend just cricks his neck, settles back down, and goes, all right, back to sleep then.
That was nice.
There's this lingering reflection of the light from the fireball in John's eyes as the light fades back into obscurity, and his lip curls into a smile as he witnesses, really for the first time, the wrought out destruction that a fireball is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes him happy.
Alright.
Futuristically, yes.
Someone should check them for supplies.
Yeah, Croc is gonna kind of gesture for Luna to pop off their head and say, I'm gonna pop out in the rain and just see if they had anything useful. I assume you want to stay dry.
I fly off.
And then Croc will wiggle their shoulders so that the owls can perch elsewhere.
Okay.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
Vrend's owl perches on the top of the thatch, where they're getting rained on, but keeps their head on a swivel, literally.
Yeah. In fact, Croc might see if John's owl is actually willing to come with them and help them search.
The last instruction that John gave to his owl was to help Croc.
Yeah.
So he
I
will.
was kind of hoping that.
Yeah. So he will follow you and issue the help command when necessary.
Okay. Croc is just going to go and see if they can scavenge anything from the various disassembled goblins.
Okay. Let's see. Right, so you find the body of the full 12 goblins, all devastated. They're a little bit on fire. They were clad in not warm clothes, so it kind of smells a bit bad. These guys had caked themselves really, really thickly in mud. That seemed to be their thought process for staving off the cold, is to just be slathered in mud that they then allow to dry for heat retention. So they're just really filthy is beyond what this is. They look like mud men that are in the shape of goblins.
Yeah.
On them, they have quite a few weapons. A lot of them have little bone daggers. A lot of them did have crossbows, but the fire has damaged the strings, it's burned the string away. So
Yeah.
there's just like shafts of metal. There's some arrows which aren't flaming arrows; they are regular arrows that are on fire. Like specifically, the plumage to make them fly straight has been burned away again. But they do have makeshift little goblin-sized quivers. One of them has a pouch of 6 whole gold. But that's all. You can't find any like rations or anything interesting on them. They all do have little short swords as well. A couple of them are metal. Most of them are made of like sharpened bone, and one of them has a stone spear.
Okay. So nothing like immediately useful for our survival needs.
Nothing immediately useful, and they weren't clad in like Tiamat specific colors either. So
Yeah.
these aren't like goblins under Tiamat's employ.
Oh,
These
yeah,
were
yeah.
just scavengers that like ferreted you guys out somehow. Like either they smelled you or one of the
Yeah.
scouts spotted you and reported back, and they were coming in to try and rob you during the night, and it didn't go well.
Of course. Well, Kruk will pick up the little pouch with the gold in it. And just take like a mental note of everything else. And then just like head back to the cover. And ask Luda if she can dry them off with her prestidigitation.
I think so.
I believe you can.
You can dry something with prestidigitation?
Yeah.
Checking prestidigitation now.
Well, you could anyway.
Clean or
Pretty sure you
soil, I
can.
guess if that counts as cleaning an object.
At worst, you could just warm it until it dries naturally.
Yeah, but my warm spell's on the blanket right now.
Oh, that's true. Well, actually, in that case, if you were to use prestidigitation, any effect you use would cancel one of the warm spells. So,
Cool. In that case, can I just use my own? Yeah, actually, fuck it. I'll just deal with it.
okay.
That's okay. But what I'll do is I'll just offer the little pouch to Luna.
What's in it?
Shiny metal things.
I grab it, and it shrinks.
Okay, you have a pouch with 6 gold pieces in it.
Oh, thank you. I hug Krok's face.
Krog just smiles. You're welcome. Thank you for saving my life the other day. And Krog will just sort of nestle back in with the owls and Luna and continue their watch.
So these gold pieces are branded with an imperial pre-occupation of the dragons kind of print on them, which used to be like the gold coin of the nearby civilizations for the longest time. You don't see it so much anymore, but this is like pre the fall of the world, pre the dragons' occupations currency.
Is this a different currency than I currently have them?
Maybe not. It depends where you got that initial currency you have.
Well, I was under like a politician or something that probably worked for the dragons, so...
Then you might have some Tiamat branded coinage on you.
So I'll separate these.
Okay.
I'll call it Old World.
6 old world gold.
Coins.
Yes. Okay, so the rest of that like section of watch goes without any hitch. The goblins are gone, and despite the explosion, nothing seems to be coming towards you. If anything, the night's a bit more still because after that sudden light and eruption, all of the animals that were nearby fled as well.
Yeah.
And I think if there were any like people traveling on the road or whatnot, they didn't look at that and go, we should go towards that. They are staying quite far away.
Yeah.
So I believe that makes us 6 hours into the rest. So we've got 2 hours to go.
Yeah.
I think Vrend was the last.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Crack will like let Luna know that she can go back to snoozing on Al if she wants.
I do.
And Crack will just gently wake Vren up.
Goblins again?
No, it's just your turn for the heating and watching.
Yeah, and
of the evening.
you see Vren like rub their eyes and across their face and go, "Oh, I'm too old for this." But yes, no, it's my turn. That's only fair. And they rub their hands together and prestidigitate some blankets and kind of like square their shoulders up and like push their back up against the side of the thatch to try and like prop themselves up so they don't just fall back to sleep. But you can see them like constantly nodding asleep and then pinching themselves to stay awake like over and over again until they finally like hit stable consciousness.
Crack will say to them, I was talking to your owl.
I'm sorry, you were what?
I was talking to your owl.
Oh. I didn't know you could do that. You can do that?
I can, yes. I have some magical abilities.
Because I
Yeah.
can talk to my owl. I didn't know anyone else could talk to my owl.
He was as surprised as you are.
And like you see a couple of cogs in Vrend's head turning, and then he goes, "Okay, you said you talked to the owl. Did my owl talk to you?"
Yes, he did.
And Vrend turns and looks at his owl, and the owl does the thing that like some predator animals do when they spot prey, which is like they dip their head down in a way that like it could be him seeing prey or it could be him trying to nod. But he does it a couple of times, and Vrend goes, "Huh. Okay. How?"
Magic? Like I have the capacity to call upon the magic of the earth. It moves through me and I can do things.
I have been an adventurer most of my life, and you are by far the strangest I have met so far. Well, Kranicus, I don't know. You're pretty strange.
I don't really know how to take that.
You're interesting. Let's put it that way.
I hope that's a good thing.
I think it is, but I don't think Tiamat likes interesting. I think they try and generally crush it. I don't like that.
I don't particularly like Tiamat or what I've heard of her so far.
No, I don't think anyone does. Not even Tiamat's followers. I assume most of the worship is out of fear.
Yes, Giral did say that he appreciates the fact that you feed him, but it's not something that he requires.
Oh.
Just in case, so if there's ever a point where you're down to your last rations, sort of thing, I think the implication is that you don't need to worry about him.
Fair enough.
I'm much the same. In our conversation, I wonder if I am a similar type of creature, except instead of being a familiar of someone like you, I am a familiar of the swamp. Because I also don't need to sleep or eat.
I mean, it's possible, from what I understand of familiars, they are fey spirits, and judging by you, you could have absolutely been a spirit drawn from the Feywild. I've never seen a familiar be able to communicate or be in sapient form before, but stranger things have happened.
Maybe the swamp created me to fix things.
You keep saying maybe the swamp. Does the swamp have a personality?
I mean, all of nature has personality if you know to look for it.
Right. I didn't know to look. This is a little beyond me, I must say. I should probably stop keeping you in conversation. I bet we're keeping the others awake.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forget that. Yes, we can talk more when we walk tomorrow.
In the morning, yes. All right, and with that, Vrend tries to keep their mouth closed, but they're a bit of a chatterbox, so they are very prone to be engaged in conversation. But the rest of your rest carries on without incident. Morning comes, and you can all gain the benefits of a long rest.
Yay.
I gain back all of my resources that I used.
Yeah, well, some adventuring days will be like that. This could have been a
No,
hostile encounter.
I made people use their resources, right? I made
Mhm.
Luna make me go invisible, and I made Ren go invisible.
You did.
I regain hit points. Oh, I'm on full. Never mind. I regain nothing.
What you don't get is a point of exhaustion, which would have been bad. All right, so morning comes. The surrounding area is, how do I put this? It doesn't look great to travel on because what once was snow, now the temperature's gone up and then it's rained, is mostly slush. Like, it's slush in every direction, especially the road, where a lot of slush has kind of like dipped in and flowed into, and it's just, there's mud everywhere, slush, and just it's going to be miserable on your feet to travel in this.
Oh.
So do you guys continue on your path?
Before we set off, Kirk is just going to ask how everybody's doing on food. And if they need to prepare the food spell today, or if they can put a more useful spell in there.
After Luna's donation, I have 9 days of food, so like I don't know, 4.5 for both of us.
Well, realistically, my personal opinion would be the less food you have to spend, the more food you have when you need it.
Well, that's a thought.
I agree with Vrend here. However, we might need the magic today, depending on what we encounter.
Yes, you might need the magic today, you might need the food tomorrow. That is unfortunately the balance.
I
And
mean,
I'm not going to tell you what you have to do.
I can see if I can gather any berries. See if I can spot any small game.
With what the weather's been like, I doubt you're going to have a lot of luck with that.
Also, as the morning starts, you guys see me fucking around with my recipe book and kind of like nodding along to myself and then putting it away.
Out of
Mhm.
curiosity, the frozen rations that we got from the, I think, Dragon Cultist,
Mhm.
five sets of frozen rations. Have they since thawed? As we've been keeping them in like prestidigitation warmed cloaks and everything.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have thawed-ish, but it's still cold enough that I would say it depends where they're put. If they're put in your packs, they're refrigerated. If they're put like in pouches that are resting against your body, they've probably warmed through.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm going to prepare Goodberry. And I will suggest that everybody save their rations. How many people do we have? Do we have 6? Yeah.
Yeah, 6.
Oh, except I don't need to eat, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's at this point that in the cold, you find that like a good berry will feed someone, but you'd probably need 2 per person for the amount of like nourishment you guys are going to need traveling through cold and doing a lot of marching.
It's like 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch.
Yeah. And that's not as the spell is written, but this is me as a DM saying the conditions are a bit harsh and your bodies are demanding more food than they otherwise would. So it's 2 berries to a ration under those rules.
2 berry to a good berry.
So are you guys, as I'm doing, like following the road and then heading in, or are you guys just gonna go off road and head straight to the woods?
Well, just heading off road take less time. Will we get there quicker?
It's 10 miles less of travel, but you don't know what you might encounter off road.
I thought we said like the road itself was faster to traverse, right? So like the amount of time it takes us to go 10 miles here is less than it takes us to go 10 miles here? Or was that my brain making up info?
I mean, you've traveled alongside the road thus far, so you haven't tried traveling off road to know what the difference is yet.
The difference is goblins.
There were goblins, they exploded.
To be fair though, like goblins. Like, come on, we can do that.
So I'll find games until hobgoblins start showing up.
That sounds like a problem for melee game. Sorry.
Ow, what's a hobgoblin?
I don't know. I read about them. Wait, I can't read. I heard about them in stories.
I heard about them in books.
Yeah, I heard about them in books.
You had people read books to you?
When I was a kid, yes, I had a family, and they were all burned by dragon.
Oh.
Well, that's not true. My sister was taken by slavers that led us into the city, and the rest of my family was burned by a dragon.
Oh. So
Was that
anyway,
a
where are we
no
going?
to the road, or?
Yeah.
Personally, I think that the road is a bad idea. I mean, I don't think we have enough invisibility between Vrend and Luna for everyone.
I thought Vrend said he could make multiple people invisible, and Luna can make 2, right?
I can make a couple. So that would be 4 out of the 6 of us.
But we don't really need him at the point of the night.
What?
Well, 4 of 6, so that's everyone. Because Luna can do 2 if we need it.
No, he can do 2.
No,
And she
I can do 2 and Luna can do 2, and that's 4 of the 6.
You can only do 2.
I can only do 2.
I thought you said you were close to cracking true polymorph.
Yes.
Some of
And I
the
don't-
adoration in John's eyes leaves visibly.
I don't have invisibility, I have greater invisibility.
Mm.
And you can't upcast that, I have to twin it.
If something sees me, I can, like, create illusions of myself and get away.
I can fly, I can teleport 30 feet, I can use darkness to hide us all, but then we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see through your darkness?
I wish.
I can.
So no road?
You can see through magical darkness?
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I think we should go off-road. Personally.
Well, you seem to have the best sense of direction of anyone, so I would trust your instincts on this, Krog.
I will lead you all safely.
Right, so you're heading... In fact, if you could show me on the map, tell me where you're heading to.
I mean, yeah, like pretty much.
Perfect. Okay, so
That keeps us
heading...
outside the road for a bit.
It does. So up to here is where you get to in the day's
Mhm.
travel before you see one of those previously mentioned convoys heading up the road in the direction you're going. So it's coming from behind you. It's not likely having come from the swamp. It's more likely it's come down the one
Mhm.
Vrend mentioned, the high road, and is now going up this way. But there is a convoy on the way past, invisible distance to you.
A convoy of what?
So there is a cart, there is a horse, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 human figures with it. One of those giant wrought iron knights leading the front of it, and some kind of dog-sized dragon-like creature.
It's not fun.
Wrought
fact-
Iron Knight, like in similar appearance to the previous one that we fought of the same description.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no gem in the center of this one's forehead, though. And it's traveling the road north. It doesn't look like any of them have seen you, but there are a couple of very lightly armored, lithe-looking creatures that are a little further out from the convoy than everyone else, with bows, specifically like looking around. So those would be the scouts that Vrend mentioned.
Crazy idea. Crazy idea. How fast do you think you can blow up the big guy that's almost killed me by blowing up?
Are you
Well-
talking to me?
I'm talking to all of you.
I messed around in my book this morning, and I'm more prepared to take on something like that than I was last time.
So
I
You messed around in your book.
could try and cast Hold Monster on it to hold it still while you dealt with the guards.
But okay, so have you fought one of these before, Ren?
No, I generally try and avoid.
So when the big guy dies, he doesn't really die. He explodes, and it hurts like a bitch. It almost killed me. My idea was if we can make him explode and take out all of the other guards before we get there, it would be a much easier fight. And he's a lot easier to beat after his armor is gone.
Right. How big does he explode?
John should remember the radius if DM tells me what the radius was.
I think it
5
was
feet, right?
10.
It would be within 5 feet, and the Wrought Iron Knight is traveling ahead of the group, not like within 5 feet of them. So if you
Hmm.
guys did blow it up, there's nothing to say that it would hit anything. And in fact, the thing he's closest to is the horse.
Well, I do have 6 intelligence. It's my plan. So
Yeah, that tracks.
Probably the best thing I could do would be maybe twin a haste spell, so 2 of you can move very, very quickly.
I don't know it's a haste spell, but
Oh, haste could be good.
Being able to
I've-
move fast would benefit me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really adept at increasing the size of allies, and if they were hasted and bigger.
Yes, they would be a juggernaut of destruction as long as they could survive long enough. Are you sure?
No, not at all.
There is a guard drake and a seeker with them. That's
How tough is the Drake? How tough are the militiamen? Do you think you can do what you did to the goblins? To the militiamen?
maybe, but not without I could take out maybe 2 or 3 of them, maybe a clump of 4, but I would not be able to take out all of them without also taking out the horse and blowing up the cart.
Croc, you've
Mm.
transformed into. You shape changed into what? Would you be able to transform into something more offensive, like a crocodile?
The crocodile.
I mean, I can turn into a crocodile again, but I'm a lot slower. And to be honest, I'm more dangerous in my uh, in my nature form.
I see.
What do you mean by more dangerous?
Sorry?
What do you mean by more dangerous?
I'm not used to fighting as a crocodile. And the only reason that I tried to use it last time is because the orc was near to water and I would be able to surprise him and drag him under. In a fight like this, I'm better off just, hardening my body and just swinging my fists.
Right. For you all, ignore the water, because I only have certain battle maps, but this is the formation of who you see traveling and where they are. In fact, based on what I described, I think these guys have moved out.
So you think if you take the orb out, the big guy would notice?
I'm going to suggest we don't test that theory.
Seconded.
Well, I wasn't asking
So-
you, weirdo. I was asking Al.
He probably would. But also, we don't know how many other things are keeping an eye out for the orb the moment it appears.
Holy shit! The size of that hole.
But if we get them to go away from the cart, then we can blow them up.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
What better than to lure them away than the orb?
So when you say make someone go really fast, how fast is really fast?
Twice as fast as you could go normally. I could do that, I could banish one of them, or I could try and hold one of them.
Look at the knight. How fast can you normally go?
Pretty fast.
So, do you think you can beat them in a foot race? And I point at the dragon and the big guy.
Sure.
I like her plan, and I point at Wings. If these two can chase the orb, and he can beat them in a race, we can take out the others very easily. I mean, they're militia. I can take out a couple of militiamen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can put the orb back away once they're away from everything.
I will take out the orb if that's what you all want me to do.
Could we
I
not
don't-
just make a illusion of the orc? I've seen I think both of you now make illusions of things.
Wait, why do we want to take the orb out?
Because if the big thing can sense it and chase the knight, hopefully alongside the dragon, would have a much easier time. Even if the dragon's still here.
Why are we
I don't
even trying
particularly
to fight
want to chance it with the orb.
I don't
What's
want
the-
to risk bringing anything else closer that might be looking for it.
We struggled enough with the knight last time, and we had drop on it, and there was nothing else to support it. Sure, we've got Ren here now, but why? This feels like
Horse.
a necessary risk.
It's a horse and cart, and who knows what's in that cart. Plus, whatever, we're dwindling their numbers. We're gonna have to fight a lot of them eventually if there's less of them to fight. Also, I haven't hit something in a very long time, so that's also a reason.
We could do a two-pronged assault where we draw the attention of the scouts and from the front. So they go to investigate, and then we send a party to attack by the river.
The river's not actually there, though.
Not the rear, the river, the rear,
Oh.
like from behind them.
I just
Yeah,
misheard you.
But that also means splitting us up.
Not by far.
You never split the party.
Hey, I'm proposing we stay on the same battle map, right?
It sounds like a good idea in theory, but
What's a battle map?
you wouldn't
So-
understand.
I don't.
Military unit of measurement.
10 out of 10.
I mean, I feel pretty confident that if I was big and fast, I could do some serious damage to that knight.
I can hold the rest of them until you guys finish them off. If
I can
hold the
pick
knight.
people pretty efficiently.
Well, if you guys think this is a good idea, I'm with you.
It's an idea. It's good enough.
So I can't haste and hold or banish at the same time, and if I switch from one to the other, my hasted target is stunned for a brief moment as time catches up with them. So if I'm going to haste, I have to hold that for the entire encounter.
Can you do other stuff while having someone haste?
Yes, just not any concentration spells. So I could throw fireballs, I could magic missile, burning hands.
Well, you might as well get your golds worth out of the haste and double cast it.
Yes, that was what I was thinking.
By the way, after the long rest, am I attuned to the ring?
Yes, absolutely. So you can cast shield once and fireball once through that ring.
Okay.
What's the time frame are we at? Are we within the 16 hours from when I casted Mage Armor last night?
Oh yeah, you've only just woken up, so you're only a couple of hours into it.
Oh, beautiful.
You've traveled like 10 miles, which is... Okay, so... Yeah, you're like 3 hours into your 16 hours.
Beautiful.
Plenty of time left on Mage Armor.
Yeah.
I said I would follow you, so whatever you plan to do, I am here as backup.
Horse and the cart. Like, I don't even give a fuck what's in the cart, but the horse and the cart would make our lives a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well,
I should
to
have
an
let
extent,
things-
yes, but then we'd be travelling down the road in a horse and cart.
We don't necessarily need to take the cart. The horse would be a huge asset by itself.
I know, I think we go for it. Also, it's less supplies to the dragon who's already in a bad spot because of us. Maybe we get the other dragons to turn on them, right? They don't have the orb, now they don't have their supplies coming in.
Yes, these are supplies heading toward their capital city, so...
Well, I believe that usually these carry a lot of gold and they're tied, right?
I like gold.
Might not be that useful. I say we hit it.
Yeah, let's do it. Then that's also my vote.
I really think this is a bad idea. But